He apologised.
He did apologise for that.
But then he played a leprechaun in movie 43.
And Billy Connolly in The Last Samurai. If all the guys you would think would be able to do...
is he Irish in that, or is he?
I can't remember. Which one?
Boondock Saints.
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, he was...
But I mean, if all the people you think would be able to do an Irish accent, you think, oh, you're safe enough with Billy Connolly. But what I don't get is, when they realise this guy can't do an Irish accent, why don't they just say, Billy, play him Scottish?
Yeah. That's why I have a lot of respect, a crappy movie, but I have a lot of respect for Jeff Bridges in that movie, Blown Away. He's playing the IRA guy, and his father's in it playing an Irish guy. He does a shitty Irish accent. Tommy Lee Jones is in it playing an Irish guy, does a ridiculous leprechaun voice. Bridges was smart enough. He says, okay, well, I'm supposed to be an IRA guy who's been living in the States for 20 years. I've lost my accent.
Good stuff.
I can't do the accent. Let's not make a joke out of this. And then he puts the other guys to shame because he's just playing him. Yeah, I've lost my accent. I'm American. And the other guys are doing the leprechaun voices, and they just make arses out of themselves.
John Voight, he can do a really good.
John's voice, it was like Kerry or something, wasn't it, in the general? And I don't really like the general that much.
I liked it a lot.
What about the Jackal? That was
what?
Who was it?
Richard Gere and the Jackal.
Yeah.
That could have been a great movie if not for his shitty accent and that.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing him talking about his voice coach was a guy called Brendan Gunn. He coached him to do that accent. And I was thinking, we didn't do a very good job.
Brendan Gunn was taking the piss.
But then Brendan Gunn, Kate Blanchett said Brendan Gunn was her voice coach for Veronica Guerin. I'm just realising.
She did it quite well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, well, maybe it's not the voice coach. It really comes down to the actor.
There's another Irish one there.
But that's actually
that's
the one I wanted to bring up with regard to what is an Irish film. Because would you say, even though it's an Irish story and it's shot in Ireland, is it an Irish film or is it just a Jerry Bruckheimer production shot in Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, not an Irish star, not an Irish director.
You can say that about Michael Collins as well, then.
Well, I think
very Americanized.
That's the thing. I think if we want to have a claim of any Irish movies, we have to say, okay, that's Irish.
Yeah.
If there's something Irish about it, because really there isn't a lot of full-on Irish productions out there.
Typical Irish. It's just like Irish. Even our football players aren't really Irish.
Yeah,
Irish.
We don't do that. We don't do. I don't think that. I think we have a problem grabbing those kind of things.
Claiming things.
I think or maybe it's just in the Irish nature to disagree all the time. But I mean,
have to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because we get so fed up of the British claiming things.
Well, I was going to say
we have a reaction to that. We don't
want to be seen. Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that you don't want to be seen, like the Irish don't want to be seen to be claiming something that someone goes, well, it's not really Irish. You know, that's something.
Oh no, sorry. Back off,
pretty much potato isn't even ours. It's from Peru.
Yeah.
But we've grabbed it.
But I think that's a fucking attractive quality in the English, quite frankly. We were slagging them off about Andy.
I think it's the modern safe version of planting their flags in other countries.
Yeah.
No, bullshit.
I don't think it's an attractive quality.
They are attracted to excellence, and they want to be.
When it's not there.
So you're saying English?
Yes. Whereas that's not what they're doing. They're attracted to excellence, and I respect that. Whereas the Irish are fucking
Superman, true.
What's the difference between English and British? You know, if you're English, you respect everything English, but when you're British, it's like, okay, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales.
No.
Even the Irish and British and Irish Lions is practically Welsh.
That's so ridiculous, though. I mean, it's British and Irish Lions. I guess that's a little bit of a concession to us that they're throwing the word Irish in there. Yeah. But I mean, they're still called lions, which is the symbol of the British Empire. They still wear red, which is the colour of the British Empire. It's kind of like, it's still kind of saying that we're part of their home nation.
Well, their training jersey's green.
Yes. So anyway, a big thing in this country has been historical movies in the last 10, 15 years. They've been adaptations of the War of Independence and always inevitably the Civil War. Yeah. It seems that with Michael Collins and Winnie Shakespeare Barley and then the TV production Rebel Heart, people tend not to do the War of Independence without going into the Civil War as like the third act.
You can't.
It's the end of it. That's the punchline. That's the footnote. And it's funny how, as I was saying to you guys earlier, when you get American movies about the American Civil War, they can be quite objective. There was a mood weirdly throughout the early 20th century where they tended to sympathise with the South quite a lot. I think Joss Whedon actually said that when he's talking about how that inspired him for Firefly. There's an obsession in America with the loser, and a sympathy with the loser. But generally, you look at Ride with the Devil, which is told from the Southern perspective, but quite objective. It shows them to be, there's good guys here, but they're not necessarily doing good things. This isn't necessarily the best cause. And there's bad guys on the other side. I think the Americans can be very objective with their Civil War movies. We can't. It's maybe impossible to do because you take just two examples: Michael Collins, Windy Shakes the Barley.
Well, it's all about.
They're two different sides of political. One is a pro-treaty movie, and one's an anti-treaty movie. You know.
I think the problem with that is the fact that it's still less than 100 years since it.
Really, it's even fresher than the American one.
Yeah, and the fact is because we're such a small country, you can actually trace back more ramifications of what's happening.
There's people
in the
still
last,
alive who were.
Yeah, but
involved.
even the state of the country at any given point in time, you can still trace it back because we're such a small country to go. It's because of either this or that in the Irish Civil War. Whereas because America's such a big country, you can only get maybe one or two examples where it's a direct example of the American Civil Wars that this led into a certain aspect of American society.
Yeah.
With Ireland, everyone can either have one way or the other. They can go, oh well, because we were we went. You know, one side can argue because we went pro-treaty, we ended up like this.
It's well, definitely with the North.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still being really felt that way with.
Partition, that's kind of a myth. Partition was not a major...
It did exist there, but there was a bit of gerrymandering involved, to be honest.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant as causes of the Civil War.
No, not causes of the Civil War.
Both of the sides agreed
of
they were going to have to go back.
Of how the Civil War affected, of how like that whole thing affected people afterwards.
Was Rebel Heart pro or anti? I can't remember.
Oh, very anti-treaty. Michael Collins is actually the only version I've seen. I can't remember the treaty because it was telling it from Collins' point of view. So,
yeah.
But it may have been quite objective. I think I'd like to see something that's objective with it. Because Michael Collins is the only thing I've seen that's very pro-treaty, and it's hard. It's kind of forced.
So it has to be pro.
It's tough to make it look like they're doing a lot of good there.
But that's even why Collins went over because he knew, Devil Air knew that he wasn't going to get the full.
Well, at least that's the way the movie depicts it anyway. So and there's a lot of historical stuff shot here. I mean, Braveheart was shot here. Saving Private Ryan was shot here. Each time, sort of abusing the work of the defence forces of the civil defence.
Vikings.
There's been the Vikings. Well, Game of Thrones shot up north here as well.
Yeah, but as you were saying, these big productions coming in and getting all these. Like we can't really
cheap Irish labour.
Yeah, because we can't really do what they do in other countries that have, we can say give you huge tax breaks on your budget or reimburse you for like.
Unless you're a corporation, we can help you out there.
That's what they do, isn't it?
Yeah. What?
No, genuinely.
No, it's just you said do.
But is that not what we do? Is it not like tax breaks that we give? Isn't that how we got Braveheart from Scotland?
What it is that with other the other studios, like in, say American cities, they'll offer a studio like Iron Man 3 was a great example. One city had it, and whatever I think it was Minnesota or whatever came in at the last minute, so we give you even more of a tax break to recoup more of your budget back.
Mm-hmm.
So. But what we do is we can't do that. We can't give them because we're so expensive anyway.
Yeah.
As a country, what we do is we go like if you're shooting a big army sequence, we'll give you our army.
That's true.
They're doing nothing anyway.
We're a neutral country. Here you go.
We're neutral. Yeah, pretty much. And because of the size of the country, it's like we can
all
have
to do is abuse the tax-free bar at the barracks. Let's get them out there.
Also, yeah.
But that's all they do. That's how they sort of scooped Scotland with Braveheart, was that they just said we can give you a whole army of extras, literally, for your scenes, and because we're paying them, you don't have to worry about them. You can just have them standing out in the field for 2 months. And
I listened to the commentary on Braveheart, Mel Gibson's commentary, and you get the feeling because he's a very Irish stock on both sides of his family, and he's got an Irish passport actually. Scotland didn't come off very well. He just kept talking about we wanted to shoot this in Scotland, but it just looked better in Ireland. Like the Highland stuff is pretty much the only Scottish stuff when you see him on a run in the mountains, because you can't recreate that, and you can't recreate Scottish mountains anywhere else. Maybe Canada. But he also said when they're playing the bagpipes, he said these are outlawed tunes and outlawed pipes. These aren't Scottish bagpipes. He said that you're hearing, they're Irish bagpipes because Scottish bagpipes just sound awful.